Welcome to my kitchen and welcome to my July 2024 budget overview and August 2024 budget setup video. Pleasure to have you. If you're not familiar, my name is Sandra. In May, I graduated from occupational therapy school with a lot of debt, and then in June I got my first job as an occupational therapist. Couple updates with that. I was working PRN, which meant as needed. I was getting plenty of hours, so I had structured my budget around the number of hours that I needed to work, and I'm also offset a month, but that's changing now because I was recently hired on as full-time. I will be a full-time staff member, which means I'll work a consistent 40 hours a week and have PTO. My paycheck will always be the same, and it also comes with a few benefits like assistance paying off my student loans that I will be including into my budget starting in September, because the money that I made in July is what I spend in August. Money I make in August, which is when I officially start my full-time job, will be spent in September. So my budget's a little bit offset. And I did that because I was PRN and I wasn't gonna have a consistent income, so I wanted to make sure I wasn't overspending. Not an issue, but now I'm a month ahead on paychecks, and that's perfectly fine by me because it gives me more predictability with my income. But yeah, let's just dive into looking at July's budget and how everything went, and then we'll go over August and what I am budgeting for. July expenses are a little bit out of whack because I haven't fully moved to what I set this budget up for because I was living off the last of my savings. July's a little out of whack, but for the most part, we can see my expenses for the month. I spent most of my money on the wants category, which is technically out of budget because a lot of the wants that I have budgeted for actually will fall into our shared expenses down the road. But this month I wasn't contributing to shared expenses yet in July. And so it's honestly a little bit out of whack. So let's look at my August budget and set this up. We have the days that I was paid out as well as my total student loan balance here. So because I was paid out in July and I knew that I was going to be paying towards my debt, I just went ahead and made those payments and counted them for August. And actually, I made a second student loan payment. It's going to be $1,250 because of that. So I'll update the total balance in just a bit. But I was paid out $4,220 for hours I worked in July, which falls short of my expected $4,500. So money that I was paid in July will get spent in August, and I have $4,220 to play with. I've put $2,500 towards my student loans already, which leaves me $1,720. I am also gonna go ahead and just pay my personal expenses out. So I'm paying $900 towards my housing expenses. I also need to pay for my car insurance, which is $60. I like to leave little notes of if I paid things or not. And then I also need to pay my phone bill. I'm on a family plan with my parents still, so I pay them $45 a month, but we were in Spain last week. And I used my phone for 4 days while we were over there, and that'll be an extra $48. So I need to pay them $93. And I may or may not pull out the travel days from our travel savings if needed, depending on how the budget's looking this month. So that's another thing is I bucket money into my savings categories every month, and one of those is travel. And so if I can fit the travel expenses into a savings into my monthly want or spend budget, then I'll do that. But if I do spend a little bit more while traveling, I have a sinking fund just for that, so it makes traveling a little easier, or any other category. So if we look here, other things that I'm trying to save for are like my ski passes, which $70 a month allows me to buy an $800 ski pass, which would let me to get a pretty accessible ski pass like the Icon Pass without it hurting the month that I buy it. Then also things like vehicle tires or vehicle maintenance, saving regularly for those makes it be less of a hurt when it comes. And I like to save for those on top of my emergency fund, which is currently fully funded at $10,000. Yeah, that leaves me with $667 to spend and save the rest of the month, which is not great after my fixed expenses. But this $900 does cover my groceries, a little bit of eating out, as well as gas for my car. So those are my big expenses that I would have the rest of the month that are already taken care of. So really, I need to save a little bit of money, and I'm going to contribute what I want to my savings right now. I'm not going to contribute to travel this month just because I am spending $93, but I will go ahead and put $50 in my kit for vehicle tires. If I have something left over at the end of the month, that's when I'll go back and save it. And then I'm going to go ahead and invest $100 into my Roth IRA. This $100 is not at all helping me meet my yearly maximum, but because I'm aggressively paying off my student loans, I'm choosing to sacrifice a little bit of aggressive investment right now. I might switch this up down the road. Okay, so that leaves me with $447 to play with for the rest of the month. I do want to try to keep my budgeted expenses down and not spend super highly in wants this month. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not going to allocate anything else right now, and we'll see what happens.